Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Continental Aspire Soccer. If you end up liking this video, please subscribe, we really appreciate it and it will help support us to make better content in the future. Today we are going to be talking about one of the best from the rest in SHAKHTAR Donetsk. Somewhat of a sleeping giant, Shakhtar is one of the oldest and most successful clubs in Ukraine and has enjoyed success throughout the decades. Whether it was dominating cup competitions during their time in the Soviet League and the USSR Cup, or rising up as dominators in the Ukraine Premier League, Shakhtar has a rich and exciting history. Today we're going to discuss their success in recent times and focus on the truly captivating generation that is bleeding through the club squad now. Shakhtar are perennial figures in the Champions League and have reached the groups in 10 out of the last 11 seasons, only failing to qualify to the group stage once in 2016-17. They have never made it past the round of 16, but have gone further in the Europa League. They won the competition in a historic manner in 2008-09, defeating Werder Bremen in the final. This side featured some players who really impressed during the competition, like when they beat rivals Kiev in the semi-final and Marseille in the quarters. Luis Adriano led the line, supported by a young Willian and Fernandinho. The team was also of course captained by Dario Serna, an influential right back who has made over 340 appearances for Shakhtar over the space of 15 years before moving to Cagliari for a season in 2018-19. Now Fernandinho would go on to be a superstar, but Willian and Adriano to some regard did not fulfil their promised potential. The Brazilian forward, Adriano, scored 77 goals across 162 appearances for Shakhtar, but upon moving to Milan he only managed 4 in 2 years. Now Willian has won the Premier League and FA Cups with Chelsea, but he has always frustrated onlookers, wanting a bit more productivity from Willian. These were the only players who would obtain serious moves outside of Ukraine to a perpetually larger league. In terms of a generation, it felt more like one that was well coached by manager Mircea Lefcesu, a Belgian coach who spent nearly 10 years at Shakhtar and is now working at rivals Kiev. It feels somewhat of a missed opportunity looking back. Why did no one take a chance on these players? What could have happened had they moved to a top 5 league? Well, in 2021, a football world which tends to reward risk over conservatism, a world where clubs continuously dive into other leagues for their next superstar, this current Shakhtar side surely looks set to achieve greater heights. Let's look at the players and their position and role in an exciting team for the near future. What better place to start than the Brazilian right winger, Tete? At 21 years old, Tete has been at Shakhtar for over 2 years after he arrived from Grêmio in February 2019. He is part of a very clear effort from Shakhtar to identify the best Brazilian talent through their scouting network. They have established a good network across the Brazilian Serie A, bringing in the likes of Willian, Fernandinho, Fred, Bernard, Alex Teixeira and Douglas Costa, just to name a few. Tete will not be the last Brazilian on this list, but he is the most valuable player in the entire squad. He has scored 19 goals and assisted 12 times for Shakhtar in 74 appearances across all competitions. He even grabbed the goal and an assist at the Bernabeu as Shakhtar beat Real Madrid 3-2 in Spain, a massive performance from both Tete and other key players we will touch on. The BBC marked him as the youngster who tore apart Madrid, and it was a game Tete called a dream come true. Linked broadly to United and Liverpool, Tete is definitely one who may have already made his mark on Europe. On the other flank is Manor Solomon, an Israeli attacker who turns 22 years old in June. Solomon scored 2 goals in Shakhtar's run in the UCL group stages, but he is a player perhaps more close to the finished article than Tete. Solomon arrived from Maccabi Petach Tikva in 2019 for €6 million. In the Ukrainian Premier League this season, Solomon has scored 7 goals in just 8 starts, and last season he got 6 goal contributions in just 10 starts. A nippy dribbler with skill on both feet, Solomon is a dangerous player that appears to have been linked majorly to Arsenal. He would complement the side well with some unpredictability, as in the UCL he completed 2.7 dribbles per game and completed 80% of the ones he attempted, against Europe's best defenders. He needs to start shooting and creating more, but he is an interesting player to watch out for. We move in goal next with 19-year-old, yes, a 19-year-old goalkeeper, Anatoly Trubin. Now Trubin represents the local side of Shakhtar's scouting network. Over the years we have seen Konoplyanka, Yarmolenko, Ruslan Malinovsky and more Ukrainian top players move out of Shakhtar and into Europe. Shakhtar are very good at becoming a home for local talent, spending pennies on their local rivals' promising players. Trubin was brought to Shakhtar in 2014 as a youngster and he came through the academy before making his debut in 2019, and this season he has begun to step up. He has made 15 out of a possible 20 appearances in the league, and he has started 5 times in the Champions League. Shakhtar in the league have conceded just 15 goals in 20 games, and the signs look good for Trubin. The young goalkeeper has saved 75% of the shots he has faced in the Champions League, and he has kept 3 clean sheets on Europe's biggest stage. With a dearth of goalkeeping talent besides Malcolm Young and Donnarumma across Europe, clubs constantly look for the next goalkeeper they can afford, and Trubin will definitely be on the shortlist. We think it's just a matter of time until his future star is picked up by a very big European club. Now, while there are other exciting players in this team like 24-year-old Mikola Matvienko and midfielder Maicon, we need to focus on just 2 more Shakhtar Donetsk players, and the first being Marcos Antonio. Now, anyone who plays Football Manager will know the name Marcos Antonio. Just a few seasons into your game and all of a sudden, Brazil and Shakhtar have one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. But how well does this translate to real life? Well, Antonio is currently 20 years old, turning 21 in June 2021. He's a short player standing below 5'6", but his experience at such a young age is frightening. Antonio has racked up over 70 senior appearances at Portuguese side Estoril and Shakhtar before his 21st birthday. He was in superb form for the Real Madrid victory, and he made 2 tackles and 1 interception, and won a couple of fouls too with his sharp dribbling. His dribbling is something key, as he has completed over 1.3 dribbles per game in the UCL and 83% success rate. Antonio has had a rags to riches story, coming from a poorer background in Brazil to one of Europe's most talked about midfielders. Could he be the player Football Manager get right or wrong? And the final player to talk about today is Brazilian right back Dodo. At 22 years old, he is another Brazilian in Shakhtar's side, and the second most valuable player in the team, according to Transfermarkt. He may not be a majorly attacking right back, scoring and assisting 4 times in 17 appearances in the Ukraine League, but he has shown himself to be solid against tough opposition. Across the last 2 years in the Champions League, Dodo has made no clear error and won 50% of his tackles against the likes of Madrid, Man City, Atalanta and Inter Milan. He even completed all of his dribbles across 5 games in 1920 in the Champions League and produced similarly strong numbers going forward in this year's group stage. He's quite busy defensively too, making over 3 tackles and interceptions per game this year. Dodo could be another player on his way out of Shakhtar, and it'll be interesting to see where the defender ends up. Those are all of the players we're going to cover today, but please, to English speaking Ukraine football fans, tell us, who did we miss? Were we right with our choices? Comment below the best players you think we forgot from Shakhtar, but leave the ones from Dynamo Kiev, as a video for them beckons for another time.